Hello, hi. If you are watching this, then most likely you are my student this semester academic year 2021-2022. Welcome to another semester of having classes, unfortunately online. Okay? And before everything else, I am extending my warm regards to everyone for surviving your online classes the past semester or semesters. Whether you have passed or failed, or you had received high or low grades, you are a strong survivor. What we are undergoing in our online classes is really a challenge. So even if you have received failed, dropped, or incomplete remarks, one thing is clear. You are still able to accomplish stuff, and for that, you are able to proceed to a higher level. So give yourself a pat on the back and welcome to the second semester of academic year 2021-2022. For those who are new in Pines City Colleges and who do not know me yet, then I'm Cherry Kawis and I am your instructor this semester for either NSTP 102 or Humanities 101 or both. For those who were my students last semester, I know that you feel bad that I am your instructor again, but what can we do? That's life. We have to deal with a lot of things that we do not like. The good thing is you are already familiar with my online style of teaching. For my new students, maybe you can have a chat with your classmates about how I deliver lessons online, as for you not to be totally surprised in our class. Anyhow, this video would be about our class rules, so better grab a pen and paper for you to be able to take notes. I will give you 10 seconds to do this before I proceed. So 10, and forgive me, my dog is beside me and he's getting crazy. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, so I hope you already have your writing materials with you. Okay, first, I am so sorry that we still have to do our classes online. It has been 2 years already that we have been implementing online classes through Google Classroom. As of now, there is still no chance, especially for your minor subjects, to go back to the old normal of conducting classes. So we still have to try our best to learn and study through online. With limited in-person classes, I don't think your minor courses will be part of it. What will be prioritized during limited in-person classes would be internships, laboratory courses, and courses requiring written demonstration, as far as I know. And And through this, let me refresh you on how we are going to conduct our class online, because we simply have no choice. Okay? First, there are words that you would have to remember. Okay? One is the word Google Classroom. Google Classroom is our main venue of delivering your lessons. I'm sure you already know how to go to your Google Classroom. Remember that you must use your PCC account in logging in to Gmail, so you would be successful in doing so. Okay? Take note that your modules, assignments, quizzes, and exams will be posted in Google Classroom, so never forget your username and password, or else you would have to contact the ICT department to help you retrieve your password in case you cannot remember what it is. Okay. Second word that you would have to note is PCC Student Portal. This is very important because this is where you can monitor your prelim, midterm, tentative final, and final grade. Do not also lose your access to your student portal for you to know if you have passed your respective grading periods. Excuse me. Okay? And speaking of grades, you already know that we are following the 3 grading terms. We have prelim, midterm, and tentative final. For courses like ours that do not have comprehensive exam, your tentative final grade is also your final grade. Specifically, your prelim grade is computed by your prelim class standing multiplied by 2 plus prelim exam, then divide the result by 3. For your midterm grade, midterm class standing would be added to your midterm exam, then divide it by 2, add the result to your prelim grade, then divide that again by 2 to come up with your midterm grade. Okay. Your tentative final grade has the same process. Final class standing would be added to your final exam, then divide the result by 2. After you add the result to your midterm grade, then divide that again by 2 to come up with your tentative final grade, which is also going to be your final grade since our course does not require a comprehensive exam. Okay? So that is your grade computation. And by the way, we will be using a transmutation table for the computation of your grades. If you do not have yet a copy of our transmutation table, then please feel free to ask me for one. Okay? The third word that you would have to write down is asynchronous. So we will be having a synchronous online class, and let me remind you of what this means. This means that if I am online you do not have to be online. And if you are online, I do not have to be online. Unless we are going to have our Google Meet. You may work on your respective course requirements on your own, on your own convenience within a given time frame. You do not have to follow rigidly the class schedule written in your enrollment form, but you would have to take note of your deadline of submission, especially because Google Classroom gives notifications for class requirements. So it is time sensitive. Okay? So that one. The fourth word that you would have to remember is modular. What I will be posting in your Google Classroom are actually modules. Your modules will not be delivered as a hard copy. Midnight. Out. Your modules are going to be attached on your Google Classroom stream, just like semester. If you are my student, then you may print out your modules, or you may read them directly through the screen of your gadgets. That is up to you. So, what then are the contents of your modules? Your modules are divided into three major parts. Okay, that would be your learning content, your learning activity, and assessment. The learning content is very important because this contains the lecture of your instructor. Okay, the learning content may be in a written form or in a video form or both. Okay, and the learning activity is a practice activity to see if you have understood your learning content. Please pardon this entertainment. And the assessment part, by the way, of your module is the part where you would have your quizzes. So putting the words asynchronous and modular learning together, please take note of our general schedule, which is applicable to all the courses I handle for this semester. Okay, say hi, Midnight. Hi. Your modules will be posted every week on Wednesdays. You may attend to your module any day and any time of the week, so long as you meet the deadline, which is, of course, 11:59 p.m. Wednesday of the following week. Okay? This means that you have an entire week to attend to one module. Okay? By the way, your first module would already be posted on January 26, which is this coming Wednesday. So please anticipate that. The fifth word or phrase, to be exact, that you would have to take note of is outcomes-based education, or simply OBE. This means that in every learning objective that we have, or in every learning content of your course, you would have to meet its goals. The intention of the learning content would have to reflect on your outputs, actions, and even words. Coupled with OBE is our sixth phrase, which is self-directed learning. When we say self-directed learning, you are also tasked to consult other learning materials aside from what was given to you as to enhance more your learning of a certain topic. You may go to a library, you may read other learning materials either online or from books, journals, newspapers, and others. Okay? In other words, do not just rely on what is provided by your instructors. Please feel free to explore the different ways of making you understand better a certain topic. So, what does OBE and self-directed learning really imply to you as our learners? These phrases imply actually our seventh word or phrase, which is independent learning. Even before this pandemic, instructors try as much as possible to instill independent learning among their students. But now that we are still learning online, it is high time to really emphasize and practice independent learning. However, independent learning does not mean that you cannot ask questions to your instructors. After you have exhausted all the avenues of trying to understand a lesson and you cannot still get what a certain topic is all about, then please do ask. Okay? In my part, you can just send a message through email or through Messenger. If you want a faster reply, just please send me a message through Messenger. Okay? So let us recap the 7 words that you would have to take note, especially in undergoing the courses that I handle. Number 1 is Google Classroom. Second is PCC Student Portal. Third is asynchronous online learning. Fourth is modular. Fifth is outcomes-based education or OBE. Sixth is self-directed learning. And lastly is independent learning. I hope the implications of these words are clear for you. But again, if you have any questions, just please do send a message. Now let's go to some class rules. The most important thing that you should take note of, and the most important of all the class rules, is reading. Please write that down. Capital R, capital E, capital A, capital D, capital I, capital N, and capital G. Reading. I cannot emphasize this enough. Guys, it is very much obvious if you have not done your reading before answering your learning activities and assessments. Let me remind you guys that most, if not all, the general education courses would be modular. So your best weapon for these are reading comprehension, and patience. You cannot just scan your learning content. Remember that you do not have your classmates with you inside a classroom for you to bother. So, if you are lazy to understand your modules, then what will happen? Okay? Most of the time, you only have yourself to rely on. You may receive help from classmates, from friends, family members, instructors, and mostly from Uncle Google, but those help you received, even if you put them all together, are just a scratch to the surface. Majority of your academic tasks still rely on you and no one else. And in case you do not know yet, independence is also a power. So please take your time to be patient in reading and understanding your modules, especially the learning content part and the instructions on how you are to answer the corresponding learning activity and assessment. I believe that 1 week is more than enough to be able to read and comprehend one module and to answer its respective learning activity and assessment. Okay, so please, again, do your reading patiently. Please take advantage of this pandemic for you to learn and appreciate the act of reading. I know some of you do not like or even hate reading, but since I am a strong advocate of reading and since I want reading to be a major part of Filipino culture, like how they do it in Finland, Norway, South Korea, and Sweden, you are left with no choice but to read. If there is one thing I would like you to practice and master in this time of online classes, that would be reading, and specifically reading comprehension. Trust me, you would be able to go a long way if you know how to exercise reading comprehension. So let me emphasize again that reading is a must, and that is your number one weapon to pass not just your courses with me, but all your other modular courses as well. Okay? I would also like you to take on the deadline. Take note of the deadline of submitting your outputs. Some of you last semester have submitted your outputs way beyond their deadline without even informing me as to why. So, aside from reading, let this video be a reminder as well of the second and third class rule, respectively, which is self-discipline and time management. Please write this down on your notes, please. Okay? Number 1 class rule is to read. Number 2 is to carry out discipline, or to be more specific, self-discipline. Number 3 is to exercise time management. For sure, if you strictly and continuously do these first 3 class rules, then there is no reason on why you will fail on your courses this semester. And the rest also of the semesters yet to come. Okay. Guys, let this be also a gentle warning that you are in college already. The No Child Left Behind policy of DepEd does not work in higher learning institutions. We give failing marks to students. And if that happens, you would have to take the course again next semester or next year even. Unfortunately, class, some of you failed your activities and or assessments, not because you do not know how to answer or you do not know the answer, but because you failed to follow the instruction or you failed to double check your output before submitting it. Let this be a gentle warning for you not to rush doing your activity and assessment, and for you to please pay extra attention to instruction. Take notes of important details and to review and double check your outputs before you submit them. Okay? I am so sorry also to inform you that all activities, assessments, and major exams are to be answered once only. I hope you understand that this is to minimize cheating and leakage of answers, since it is easy to send or post answers online or on your group chats. I am also sorry that I will not be releasing the key answers to your activities, assessments, and exams. Why? Because most of the answers to your activities and assessments, especially if they are identification, true or false, and multiple choice questions, they are literally, I repeat, they are literally found on the learning content part of your modules. You just have to cross-reference the questions to your learning content. And if I may make a suggestion, you can copy or outline your learning content on your notebook, so you would easily cross-reference again the questions on your activity and assessment to their correct answer. And do you know that writing down stuff, it will make you understand your lesson better, and writing it down also helps for longer retention. So class, please feel free to take down notes from your modules. Excuse me. Having class online does not mean that you are not going to use pen and paper already. So, am I clear on my reminders, gentle warnings, and class rules? I hope so. Okay. By the way, some of you have been sending, last semester, some of you have been sending inquiries through Messenger and email. I greatly appreciate inquiries, most especially because I may have overlooked something. However, some of you forgot to practice our EOP rule. And what does EOP mean again? It's English Only Policy, or EOP for short. Okay? Please observe this rule. For the last semester that we have been conducting our classes, I replied to your queries, no matter what language you have used. But for the duration of this semester, I would strictly require you to follow the EOP rule. So if your query, comment, suggestion, or violent reaction is not in English, then I would not reply to you already. I would only honor requirements submitted in English. I would only reply to queries written in English, and I would only attend to comments, reactions, or suggestions written in English. And before you send your queries, comments, or suggestions, please check your spelling, capitalization, punctuation, and make sure that your sentences are complete and not run-on sentences. We are already outranked by our neighboring Asian countries in terms of English proficiency, which is very much ironic, because we have been exposed to English language far longer than them. So it's about time that we increase more our English proficiency. And the best way to do that is to practice. And, you have me to practice with. So do not lose that opportunity. Communicate with me in English. Anyway, most of you would also want to, practice their profession abroad, especially our nursing students. So, our student nurses. So, it is a must that you get comfortable communicating in English. So, that is the rationale behind my EOP rule, okay? Okay, and one more thing with regard asking questions, please make your question specific. To prove my point, please read this example. Okay? Based on the given situation, you have seen the correct question that should be asked by the customer is, Miss, the chop suey is good for how many people? And not just the chop suey is good for. So if you do not want to receive a sarcastic answer from me, please ask a specific question. Do not just ask me what is the instruction. The instruction is already in your module. Please ask me specifically what part of the instruction do you not understand, or what specific statement in your learning content is not clear for you. Okay? And yeah, that one. Okay, let me remind you also of your profile picture in your Google Classroom. Some of you still do not have profile picture. For those who have uploaded their profile picture, please check if the picture that you have uploaded is appropriate for academic purposes. What I mean by this is the picture that you should be using in your Google Classroom should be like the picture that you are going to use in your resume, or the picture, or your picture should be like your 2x2 ID picture taken in a photography studio. It should not be like the picture that you use in your social media accounts. Okay, do not post those pa-bebe pictures that you have. That is not professional at all. Okay, save that for your Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram accounts. So go ahead and make those profile pictures as real and as professional as possible. And for those who have not posted their pictures yet, you better do it now, or else I will subtract 2 points directly from your prelim grade and your midterm grade if you still have not yet posted a picture of you by that time. Okay, next. When it comes to your name in Google Classroom, I have no problem about it so far because all of you have indicated actually your complete names. However, please input your first name or names and your surname accordingly. We actually sort your name by surname in Google Classroom because the list of students on the PCC portal is arranged alphabetically by student's surname. So if your name is not encoded accordingly in your Google Classroom account, then your name would be out of order on our student list. Again, please make sure that your names are encoded properly to where they are supposed to be placed. This would make tracking of your record faster and easier. Okay. Class, I am right now handling 2 courses and I have roughly 300 and more students. So you can just imagine the confusion if I am going to record your individual scores and I cannot even find your name to where it should be. Okay? So please arrange your names, or please input your names accordingly. Okay? Another thing as well as with regard names, and I cannot believe I am still telling this one to you. Please write your full name and course and year appropriately in every learning activity and assessment that you do. Since last semester, I have been observing how you communicate to your instructors, specifically through online and in written manner. I have been basing my observations on how you wrote your queries through Messenger and through email. I have also observed how you have written your sentences when you were answering your modules. So this video would also be a reminder to how you should communicate to your instructors specifically through writing. Okay, first, let me remind you of our context of where we are. No, because you might have forgotten it since physically you are at home. Class, we are in an academe. So generally and most of the time, we are going to communicate how? In a formal or informal manner. Obviously, we are going to communicate formally, and by formally, we mean that there are rules that need to be followed, and I'm sure you know these rules, but one way or the other you might have forgotten about them, or you might have overlooked some of them, or maybe you just got too lazy to double check your written message or output. However, class, I believe that these are just excuses. So I feel very much obliged to remind you of these rules so that you would not be able to repeat it again. And you would be able to have some guidelines on how you are going to review your messages and outputs before submitting them to your corresponding professors or instructors. Sorry. First, let's go to how you are going to send a message through email. I will show you my phone screen so you would be able to see the different parts of an email. So as you can see on your screen, we have the different parts of an email. So how are you going to fill in these parts professionally? First, take a look at your own email address. Okay, the email address that you should be using must not be your personal email address. Any academic transaction that you do should be linked to the school you are enrolled in. And since you are enrolled in PCC, please make sure that your email address is your ID number at pcc.edu.ph. And as you can see, my email address is not at gmail.com or at yahoo.com. It's at pcc.edu.ph. The next part of your email is the receiver of your email. So again, double check if that ends with at pcc.edu.ph. So for example, let's have 278945 at pcc.edu.ph. Double check the spelling and underscore or any special character that should be present on your receiver's email address. There was this one time when a student sent me a message on Messenger, double checking if I received her first answered module, and I said I did not. So we have exchanged messages trying to solve the problem, and we found out that she did not put the underscore in my email address. There was also this one time where I was sending an email to students and I misspelled PH to PJ. So technically the student wasn't able to receive his invite. It's a good thing he was able to send me a message through Messenger, so I double checked and I found out that it was my fault. I misspelled his email address. So class, please double check. Email addresses are character sensitive, so just a tiny dot that is missing, then your mail or email will not be sent. Okay, next we have the subject line, and a lot of you are neglecting this part, but professionally and technically this should be filled in. So let's put here, for example, module 1, learning activities and assessment. Okay, so that would be your subject. Okay, that is the general topic of your email. So next is your composition, and just like a letter, it should start with your salutation. Okay, salutation, which is dear, and your title, Miss, family name, Domingo, for example, and comma or colon. But since we are emphasizing formality and professionalism here, I would use colon. Okay? Anyway, one difference between a personal letter and business letter is the colon and comma. Comma is used for personal letters and colon is used for business letters. Just a bit of an exception on my part as your instructor, because when I have sent you your feedback last semester, I used your first name and a comma. This is because I do not want you to feel too distant from me. Using your first names on my emails to you guys would lessen the rigidity of formal communication, and I do not want you to feel too rigid towards me. Okay? Next, after your salutation, you have your greetings, and this is optional. You may do away with this one and proceed immediately to introducing who you are. So, but for this instance, let's use a greeting. For example, let's say, good day, ma'am. Okay. Okay, so this would be followed then by your short self introduction, which is very important. So let's say, for example, I am Rio Angeline Reyes, your BSN 1-3 student under the course biochemistry. Okay. So that's your brief self-introduction, which is again very important. So do not forget to introduce yourself first before anything else. Next, you proceed immediately as to why you are sending your instructor an email. So for example, let us write, I am writing this email to submit to you my first answered module on our biochemistry course. Okay, attached to this email are my learning activities and assessment. So that's it. Simple and direct to the point message. Okay, but wait, let's just add a space after the second paragraph. Okay, so after your message would be your closing. Okay, so we can just write here, thank you, ma'am, or just thank you. Okay, it depends on you. So after your closing, then you can already sign your name, then attach your attachments if you have. Okay, so Rio, Angeline. Okay, so there you go with the basic contents of your email. Simple, direct to the point, professional, and formal. Okay, then you can proceed to send that email. But don't forget your attachment. Okay, if there should be an attachment. Okay, so those are the different parts of a message that you are going to send to your instructors. Remember again that we are in an academe, so we should communicate formally and professionally, even on Messenger. Okay? If you are Facebook friends with your instructor, that does not already mean that you can communicate with him or her informally. Especially if the communication is about school or academic matters, okay? Now let's go to other reminders. Ang dami kong reminders, ano? Okay, these reminders is in relation to how you write. Okay? These reminders are basic. And again, you know them already, for sure. I just want to emphasize this because, how can I say this? They are mistakes that should not be done by someone who already finished his or her senior high school. Class, you are already in college and it's about time you write like one. Okay? So first, observe capitalization. I am sure that your English teachers before have told you that the pronoun I should be capitalized. Speaking of capitalization, okay, take a look at this answer by one of you last semester. Really, this is not a text message. It is your academic output, so please observe the rules of capitalization. Another thing that I want you to take a look at is this another answer also by one of you last semester. Class, I am already giving you fair enough or fair warning to edit your output and to be very careful with your grammar. At least observe the basic grammar rules. Why? Because if you have a lot of grammar mistakes, then your sentences might end up ambiguous. I may not understand at all what you mean. And if that happens, then what kind of score do you expect me to give you? Okay? The lesson here is before submitting your output, read it very well. Review it, and you can even let other people read your output. Maybe they will be able to help you in editing it. Okay? What else? Okay, one last thing, and this is with regard the tone of your message. If you remember, one question that you were tasked to answer on your Communication 101 module, if you can still remember, is how are you going to communicate with someone who is older and who has more experience than you? And most of you actually wrote the correct answer of being respectful, polite, being patient, and learning to listen first. Okay. One tip for you to sound polite is please avoid using the modal verb can. Use may instead. For example, it is more polite to say, "May I please submit my output late?" rather than, "Can I submit my output late?" Okay? So, that's it, I think, for this video. I hope everything's clear. Okay, bye for now, guys. I am just a message away if you want to say something. Okay, God bless everyone, and please stay safe. Okay, see you online.